Dr. Francine Shapiro discovered eye movement desensitization and reprocessing in 1987 while taking a walk and noticing how her eye movements seemed to reduce distress from disturbing thoughts.
Then I started doing it deliberately to see if it would work, and the same thing happened. The thought shifted away, and when I brought it back, it wasn't as disturbing. That they were moving very rapidly in a diagonal, just flickering up and down very, very rapidly. So I thought I'd stumbled upon some mind process that worked with thought. And that's what was so fascinating, because I hadn't been doing it deliberately, but I noticed it happening.
She then developed the therapy and published her first controlled study on EMDR in 1989, which stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing, combines traditional talk therapy with something that might seem unusual. Here's how it works. In a typical EMDR session, the therapist moves their hand or an object for about 20 to 30 seconds per set in front of the patient's eyes while the patient recalls an upsetting image. For example, in an actual EMDR session, a client may be struggling with panic attacks. The counselor guides the process, moving their hand or an object while the client's eyes track the movement. After several seconds, the client begins to experience a shift, sometimes becoming visibly emotional.
And I had to start using my hand to guide them to make similar types of eye movement.
Dr. Shapiro isn't sure why eye movements are effective, but believes they are connected to the rapid eye movements that occur in the brain during dream sleep. One theory suggests that REM sleep helps us process upsetting incidents, making life's nightmares more manageable. However, when a severe trauma, such as war or assault, occurs, this natural processing mechanism is disrupted, preventing us from coping. The brain goes into shock, and the mind replays the distressing experience over and over.
When a trauma occurs, that processing mechanism gets disrupted. It doesn't work. The brain goes into shock, and the mind just repeats the information over and over again. When we deal with the eye movement in the office, we seem to be able to open up that blocked processing and accelerate it. It goes along with hard work. It takes a good amount of clinical skills in order to implement it. And this isn't just touch the person's forehead and they get better. The client and the clinician really have to be responsible and work at it, but it goes much more rapidly than traditional types of therapy.
EMDR is thought to work by engaging both memory recall and external stimulation, helping the brain reprocess traumatic experiences similarly to REM sleep. Research suggests that it reduces fear responses by altering activity in key brain regions: the amygdala, which detects threats, the hippocampus, which processes memories, and the prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions. Though the exact mechanism is still being studied, EMDR appears to help restart the brain's natural ability to process trauma, accelerating emotional healing.
Ruminate, the space between thought and transformation.